Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk with Kasim. Real Talk with Kasim is designed to bring information and concerns of our community to the forefront. We here at Real Talk with Kasim, we respect the opinions and we value our guests. We value our leadership. We value the comments. We here at Real Talk with Kasim do not entertain gossip, nor do we entertain disrespect. We humbly ask that we all remain respectful towards one another at all times. We at Real Talk with Kasim aspire to inspire before we expire. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peace and blessings, family. Peace to the kings, peace to the queens. First and foremost, we like to thank the Creator, the all for allowing and blessing us with this privilege, this honor to be able to live another day and receive another evening. For this, we are truly grateful.
Welcome to Real Talk with Kasim. Let's push things forward. The show that aspires to inspire before we expire. Let's push things forward.
Peace and blessings to you all. Peace and blessings to the kings. Peace and blessings to the queens. Tonight, we starting a little bit late, but we a little bit late in time, but we up to speed in conversation. We have before us, we have three esteemed brothers. We got Brother Calvin Merritt, and I always put the title with the brother who's the former president for years of the Passaic chapter of the NAACP. We have the brother with us for the first time here at Real Talk with Kasim. We commend the brother. We also got the brother Harold McKinney. You know, the brother been on the show numerous times. We have him back, and then we have another brother who's technically we have to leave him anonymous, and we have to deal with his privacy. So we're gonna call the brother Shaka. We have the brothers before us, and technically what we did was we came on tonight to discuss the safety in the city of Passaic. Is Passaic safe? And particularly when dealing with the chemical facility. We have a facility in Passaic, Passaic Street, by Passaic and Canal Street, and it facilitates chlorine. And we want to talk about, is it safe? Is it safe in the city of Passaic? And we brought the brothers out. These brothers was here when before it turned into the facility that facilitates or what they do is they handle chlorine in the building. It used to be called U.S. Rubber. That was before my time, or I must have been a baby back then. So we got the brothers. We brought Brother Calvin Merritt with us. Help me bring him to the screen. Please help us with this plug. Peace and blessings, brother. How you feeling?
Good, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, everything is going accordingly, man. It's a privilege, an honor, and a blessing to have the brother come on the show and for having you with us today, brother.
It's my honor, brother, to be in your presence.
And it's a blessing. We thank you. Hey, Brother Shaka, you there? Is Brother Shaka there?
Yes.
All right, brother. Also, it's a pleasure and honor to have you here with us as well, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Brother, we got Brother Harold McKinney in the back. There's some technical difficulties coming on. And in the conversation, as the conversation starts, I'll get back there to see if I'll send another link to him from a different way, and let's see he get it, and expect for the brother to come back on with us. But with that being said, I'm gonna ask these brothers this. They're gonna start off like this. First of all, brother Cal, can you tell the people who don't know who Brother Cal is? Like I know who Brother Cal is. Could you please tell the people in the audience in which we call leadership a little something short about yourself, brother?
Well, brother, all I am is a servant, somebody who's giving back. Because as the word puts it, to whom much is given, much is required. So I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do as far as the people in the community go. Somebody sacrificed and did it for me, so I was obligated to do my little part for somebody else. And I just hope that what I've done is a benefit to somebody along the way.
There you go. Brother Shaka, can you tell those who don't know who you are a little bit about yourself, brother?
Well, I don't know if I can put it in the context of a little bit, but I'm a teacher. I'm a father. I'm a parent. I'm a man who's just here trying to evolve, trying to grow spiritually for the benefit of my own existence and for the benefit of my people.
There you go. Now, brothers, we know and understand that there's a facility in the city of Passaic in the location of when you brothers was here younger, it was called U.S. Rubber back then. So there's a lot of people who don't know what U.S. Rubber was. What did it facilitate? What was U.S. Rubber about? Can you give a little bit of that history from what you may know?
Well, go ahead, brother.
From my own experience, I had relatives that used to work at U.S. Rubber, and back in the 50s, throughout the 60s, there were 3 or 4 factories, in quotes, factories, in Passaic, where it was almost prestigious to work at these factories because of the salaries, in spite of the hazardous conditions under which many of these men worked, especially if he was a black man, a father. So, as I said, I have relatives that worked at U.S. Rubber, and my father also worked in the factory in Passaic, also Passaic, Clifton, Morning Star. But U.S. Rubber, Okanite, Panasol. Help me out, Cal. U.S. Rubber.
Manhattan Rubber.
Revlon, down on 8th Street. Okay. If you had these jobs, especially again, if you were black, you were making, in quotes, quote unquote, good money.
Good money. Yes, sir.
You was clocking. And then at that time also, they just about gave you any and all the overtime you can stand. So U.S. Rubber was one of those factories that paid well, in spite of, again, the hazardous conditions.
Yes.
Okay. And U.S. Rubber and some of these factories might have, going forward, been responsible for many of these brothers' passing.
Absolutely.
From cancer.
Yes.
Okay. Lung cancer, respiratory problems, you know, what, you name it, they had it. Okay. But it enabled you to, again, going back to the 50s and 60s in particular, I have very vivid memories of the little diner that was directly across the street from U.S. Rubber. It was called Yum Yums. And you were walking there any given evening, because U.S. Rubber, I think, had 3 shifts, right, Calvin?
Yes, 3 shifts, correct.
Yeah, they had 3 shifts. So you could walk into Yum Yums at any time of the day, and them brothers would be sitting up there during their lunch hours or during their breaks, eating. You could see they were grimy, they had grease, you know, but they were very supportive of their families. All the black men I knew that worked there, their children didn't want for anything, for the most part.
And Brother Cal, what about you? Your perspective of it, brother?
Same thing. Well, Brother Shaka hit it right on the head. The thing, and it's in retrospect now, we think about it, was the fact that I think back at all of these men who worked there, a great majority of them, well, I don't know if I'm qualified to say transition too early, but I know they all had conditions. They all had, and basically everything was written in as like, oh, he had cancer, all types of cancer. And we know that the things that were taking place in these factories, and it wasn't just Manhattan Rubber. I even think back to when I used to go on Saturdays to the YMCA, and between morning session and afternoon session, we would play in the back along the river, and you could see from all of these factories different colored water going into the Passaic River, and all of these things going on. So we can just imagine what these brothers went through for their families. And as Brother Shaka said, you know, it enabled them to move their family to what was basically known as almost like Sugar Hill section of Passaic. You know, 2 family houses or 1 family house, but at the cost of health, and just another part of environmental racism, brother.
So now, from back then, knowing that it was a hazard, I'm just coming into the realization, since we had a fire last week in the city of Passaic, that was on Canal Street, a building that was basically 5 feet away from the building that facilitates the chlorine. And what happened was, of course, I was at work, and I got off the machine, and I said, let me give the people a real talker outlook. Let me do a live and show the facility and what was burnt, and to bring people up to speed who might not go on the mayor's page. And one of the deputy chiefs from the fire department was there, Chief Burgos, and I asked him if he could say a few words. He himself even said that the blessing out of it was that no one was killed. There was no fatalities. There was 1 fireman who got injured. We prayed for his safety and for healing for that brother. And he said that had a small leak of chlorine that would have went into the air, or the building would have got on fire, they would have had to evacuate the whole entire city of Passaic, New Jersey. Now, I was like, wow, because now I'm like, oh, well, this facility, this is something big. And like, I had to have questions like, is there, and Brother Harold called me actually, and called me, I couldn't answer, I called him back, and he was like, brother, do you know how serious this thing is with chlorine? And why is it located near a dense populated arrangement? And these are the questions that you have to get to, and call me right back. He hung up on me. So when he hung up on me, I know the brother ain't playing. He just gave me my assignment. So I reached out to the mayor to give him some questions. Right now, they're in a council meeting. I didn't get the answers or responses back to the questions yet. And contingent upon the questions that is given, we'll come back on here again. If we got to come back on next week, or we got to do it tomorrow or the next day, whenever you brothers we can do it, we can do it. So I said, wow, this is important, because had we had to evacuate, what would be the evac plans? Where would anybody go? What would they take with them? There's nothing in place. Nobody that I know of, that I spoke to, was even like, what? We would have to if we had to evacuate, where would we go and what would we do? You know, that's just one of the questions. Another question would have been the facility that holds the chlorine. Is it up to par? How are the conditions inside the building? The people that work there, right outside or the side of it. Like you said, Brother Cal, it's a little stream there, river right there as well. Is there any type of chemical that's going into the water? If so, what type of damage it's doing? You know, things of this nature. So how do you, brother, I'm going to Brother Cal first. Brother Calvin, how do you feel about knowing that the old U.S. Rubber building now is a building that's operated by individuals who work there, in which it holds chlorine? That's one of the chemicals, I'm just saying, the one we know about, because I'm going to do some more looking into, but I just want to do tonight's show to bring people up to speed, to let them know what's going on. And maybe at the next time we can bring, because I also reached out to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. I always reached out on a federal level. I was able to get in contact with one individual. It's a lot of running around. But one of them told me, his name was Mackey, Steve Mackey. He said that he couldn't give me certain information because he would be stepping on people's toes that's on a level that's underneath him, in a sense, as far as protocol is concerned. So he gave me numbers to reach out to individuals When I reached out to them, I left message after message after message and got no response back.
Yeah.
I'm sure I wasn't expecting a response back, you know, but it's a red flag for me, because the things that, or the information, that the question that I was asking was, is there an evac plan that you have placed that the masses of people in Passaic don't know about? Is the facility up to par? What other chemicals do they have? Is there information? I mean, why is there not information going around the city pertaining to what type of chemicals this place holds and this, that, and the third? So how do you feel about this, Brother Cal?
Well, first of all, I can give you from my personal experience. We depend on government that these things don't occur like they're supposed to. Now, there's supposed to be regulations and things to keep these things under control. But as you said, if in fact something would have happened, and that was my first thought, because we left the funeral at my church that night, came home, sat down to eat my dinner, and I see Passaic fire on TV, and I see where it's at. Now, the first thing I thought about was, well, when they talked about evacuation, was where were all these people from Spirit Village going to go if that had occurred? Number one, are you just going to run around, knock on doors and say, okay, you have to leave? Okay, I have to leave. Where am I going? How do I get where I don't even know where I'm going? All of these things had to come into play as well. Is there a plan? Number one, and to take it a step further than that, I always think about, why are all these facilities and things in our neighborhood? Environmental racism just continuing on. They continue to have these type of low plants and zoning places in the neighborhoods where poor people, I say where poor people live. And I look at it as them looking at us as being expendable. It just bothers me that these things continue. You have zoning laws that say you can't build this here, or you can't have this type of business here, but yet and still you can have a facility like this that could pose a threat to hundreds and thousands of people right in people's backyards. People lived within a quarter of a mile or less from there. So these are the things that bother me, that these things are allowed to continue. And why in that area are these fires continuing to happen? 8th Street, the other month ago. And there's hundreds of houses between 8th Street and where this took place at in our neighborhoods. Why isn't this being looked at? And then I believe those who are supposed to give us the information, but I think back to 9/11 when they stood there and told everybody that the air quality was good there. And now here we are 20 years later, and they are still paying out money from people who lost their lives and people who are sick now from believing that the air quality was okay. So these are the things that basically come to the forefront for me.
That's
Brother Harold. Go ahead, Brother Harold.
I'm listening. Good evening, first of all. I hope everybody's well and in good health. Good to see you, Calvin.
Good seeing you, my brother Harold.
Yeah, man, I miss our conversations.
Absolutely, brother.
Anyway, but as I listen,
let me cut you off respectfully. We also have Brother Shaka on the phone as well.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
How you feeling, brother?
I'm good, man.
Okay, all right. I don't know where to start.
I'll start you right here. There's a question that came in right here.
Let's go back to the conversation about Uniroyal, U.S. Rubber.
All right.
All of our fathers and our uncles and brothers, and even I, worked in that environment. And the building that I heard the chief tell you that the chemicals were stored in was old 119 building, where the braiding machines, and upstairs they made the sneakers. Mm-hmm. My father ran the braider, Uncle Charlie ran the braider, Mr. Gilliam, that's the machines that made the hoses. But here's going back to Calvin's comment. My father was retired from U.S. Rubber as a result of chemical, what did they say it was? a chemically caused heart condition. There were literally hundreds of men.
Yes.
When U.S. Rubber packed up in Halltail down south, they left thousands of people unemployed, but worse than that, they left them sick, and they knew it. We moved into the projects in 1953, and I remember the canal between Building 11 and 119 was filled with carp, and in the river, you could catch anything from sunfish to eels and killies. They had all kind of life in the river, turtles, everything. But over the years, since the turn of the century, the last century, you had a lot of factories, as you all mentioned already, who dumped all of their waste material. But here's my problem. Why was chlorine gas being stored in that building? Who owned it? And who's responsible for the storage? I don't know if y'all know this or not, but chlorine gas, when inhaled, and I heard the chief tell you they would have had to evacuate the entire city. Chlorine gas, when inhaled, causes the lungs in a protective manner to fill themselves with fluid, causing complications in breathing. Say again?
Immediately.
Yes, immediately.
Once inhaled.
Once
inhaled.
Yeah, well, it's going to take a sizable amount. Not really. They didn't measure it because the experiments that were done, it was done right there in New Jersey and in Maryland at the military facilities. Let's go back, Calvin. You mentioned something about why are our communities marked for death. Let's go back and deal with the emancipation, because most of us don't understand that the Constitution itself and the Emancipation Proclamation together had put us in a condition of criminalization. The 13th Amendment says that to incarcerate, or what do they call it? Involuntary servitude would be against the law unless the person was convicted of a crime. So we've become criminalized since the end of the Civil War. Now let's go back and look at the Emancipation Proclamation. It says that they had emancipated the people, first of all, in the slave states who rebelled against the Union. And after the war ended, it was supposedly expanded throughout the country. But most people don't know what the word emancipate means. Freedom is freedom. Liberty is liberty. But emancipation simply means to let go from my personal possession, but still under the purview of my control. So the government took charge of the emancipated human beings and made them wards of the U.S. government. And everywhere we set up our towns after emancipation, each one of the cities that we successfully built had our own banks. Everything we needed, we provided. Each one of those towns was burned to the ground, every one of them. Because if we go back and listen to the conversation that President Johnson had with the governor of Mississippi, what was his name? He ran for president and got shot. Anyway, George Wallace. President Johnson said to him, listen, George, you can catch more flies with sugar than you can with shit. Here's how you do it. You make the poorest and the most worthless of the whites believe in their souls that they're better than the highest level of blacks. And not only will they give you their votes, they will put your hand in their pocket to take their money. So the idea and the attitude of making us suffer stems from the fact, just like what France did to Haiti, we got to make these Negroes pay for losing all our property. Our condition is somewhat worse today because we're a lot more ignorant than we were back in 1864. We have less love and value in ourselves than we did back then. See, conditions, what Daddy used to say, tough times make strong men, and easy times make weaklings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And see what happened to us from the time we were BS by from President Kennedy all the way up with the political system. We've been hoodwinked and we've been lied to and we've been deceived so much because we're always looking for someone else to do for us what we need to do for ourselves.
That's right.
Now, going back to this chlorine gas, there has to be someone held accountable for that much of that gas being in that building. Somebody somewhere in that city or in that area knows it's there. And going back to what it causes, what is one of the most severe symptoms of COVID?
Upper respiratory.
Yeah.
The lungs are filled with fluid, preventing the victim from breathing. There are so many things happening to us and around us, under us, that the distractions keep us from seeing what's happening. I was in Passaic in June. My cousin's oldest daughter passed and I came up for the funeral. I didn't get to see the people I really wanted to see, but I did see enough to make me get back on that plane and come back to Miami. Because the things that were going, I left Passaic in 1975. And what I saw when I left in 75, I still see it in 2021, except it's worse. Because the love that we grew up with, you know, Calvin, Malik, your father, Kasim, we grew up with a protect. We grew up with a love and a protection. The men and women who raised us taught us survival skills, and one of those skills is how to look after one another. But since then, and our attention, our attentions are focused on other things. All kinds of chicanery is being done around us. You mentioned, Calvin, earlier about the mysterious fires. There's nothing mysterious about them. I remember. I'll be nice. I won't call names. But there was a man who owned property and set his property on fire, killing numerous people in Passaic to collect insurance money. My cousin got knee deep in my stuff because I called out his name. Harold, we wasn't raised to do that. I said, my grandparents raised me to tell the truth. Those people who own those tenements, who still own those buildings down there on South Street, Nate Street, when they need that, somebody still got insurance, just like the people who took out insurance on the Twin Towers. You know, something it makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me is that our people, currently, we have physical eyes, but we don't have insight.
Brother Howard, with that being said, we got Brother Shaka on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Shaka, give us your perspective of how you feel about this facility being there, Brother Shaka.
Well, I mean, I was just enjoying listening to that because everything that was said was right on point. But what it brought me back to was a conversation that you and I had earlier, and a cut that Gil Scott-Heron made called "We Almost Lost Detroit" from a nuclear plant. And the whistleblower was Karen Silkwood, okay, where millions of Black folks would have died had she not put certain people on alert about the dangers of this nuclear plant exploding. Again, it was Black folks. They put it where most of us would have been the casualties. I mean, and there are many, many examples of this, right? But coming back to what you were saying earlier, Kaz, you basically, if you want to know who's responsible for those chemicals being where they were at, you just got to follow the money. You have to follow the money.
Now, I want to play something. Hold on, brothers. Let me go into this, and I'm going to play something for the brothers. Hold on.
Chlorine gas. In 1914, a chemist called Fritz Haber offered his knowledge to the German army.
No.
He soon began experimenting with chlorine gas to be used in trench warfare. In April of 1915, 150 tons of lethal chlorine gas was used by the German forces against the French army at Ypres. The French soldiers witnessed yellow lime clouds with...
I'm gonna have to take it off and go back in. I was based on chlorine. For those who might not even know what chlorine is. Well, let me ask y'all brothers this. After, like, cause there's some of you brothers spoke about literally about the facility like U.S. Rubber causing cancer amongst the men and all this, that, and the third. So let me ask, as you consider to be our elder brothers, and at the time there was elder sisters, were there anything that you all were doing at that time to try to prevent it from happening or stop it or anything back then? Like, was there a protest or cry out about it, or was it gone by then?
Well, you have to figure like this here. A lot of those situations were just like was mentioned earlier. That was a means of taking care of your family, income. It allowed you to eat. And my father didn't work in Passaic, but my father worked in Orangeburg, New York at Orangeburg Manufacturing. Still same type of facility, to the point where at night my father would come home and lay down, and I could go in the morning and see all of the grease and things that were in his hair on his pillowcase. And all it did to me was, I'll tell you, because I was a young person, was say to me that I was not going to have employment like this, that I was not going to work in this facility, that I was going to pay attention and do what I was supposed to do to try to elevate to the point where my family didn't have to go through that. No, there were no protests that I knew of.
Protest what?
Right.
First of all, you have to be aware of something,
right?
To protest.
Protest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, when Sonny Liston made it public that the U.S. Army was dumping same kind of gas into the Holland Tunnel, what happened to him? He was found in a motel and said he died from a heroin. The man wasn't no heroin addict. Now, slowly and over the years, it's not just Passaic now. You got to follow the Passaic River all the way down into what's new, Essex County.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You got to follow that river all the way down Essex County and through until it reaches. By the time it reaches the ocean, that shit is, the water is so filthy and so unbearable. But the people who didn't know about it couldn't complain about it. It was, I think, 1967 when the first complaints were being made about the river being damaged. No, I'm sorry. It was later than that. I was in Vietnam. This was 1970. In the Stars and Stripes, they had a picture of the dirtiest river in the world. You know what river that was?
Passaic River.
Passaic River.
Wow.
The Passaic River.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dirty because it had become a toxic waste dump site. And only after they got busted, when the environmentalists got in their butts, they packed up their stuff and moved to another state.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all see that movie Will Smith was in when the aliens invaded? What was the name of it? Anyway, the president made a comment in that. He said they're like locusts. They move from place to place. When they finish consuming all the life-giving essentials, they move to another place. That's the mentality of the industry in this country. So to protest it, there were protests made, but they weren't made by the men who were dying from the fumes they were inhaling. It was made from their grandchildren. And the only time the owners of those companies became aware or became concerned when they realized we're going to lose money, it's time to go.
Wow.
Harold.
Wow.
Yes.
Harold.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember talking about protesting and being aware? Do you remember when they tore down Beth Israel Hospital, what they wanted to put there?
I think I was gone. I think I might have been gone.
Do you remember?
I remember vaguely, but what I do remember is I remember back in the early 70s when they wanted to rebuild a new incinerator right in the middle of town.
They wanted to put that where Beth Israel was at.
Right, the incinerator.
Right.
Right. And
do you know why they didn't put it there?
And it took a total communal effort to come together. Poor, well-off, black, white, brown, come together and stand together and say, no, we would not take it. And it did not happen. But you see what they wanted to do, more environmental racism.
Now, hold on. Let me see if I can get this to play now, brothers. Hold on 1 second. Bear with me. Let me see if I can get this to play now. If you can hear it.
First World War technology. Chlorine gas.
Can anybody hear it? You still cannot hear it.
I can hear
it. In 1914, a chemist called Fritz Haber offered his knowledge to the German army. He soon began experimenting with chlorine gas to be used in trench warfare. In April of 1915, 150 tons of lethal chlorine gas was used by the German forces against the French army at Ypres. The French soldiers witnessed yellow lime clouds with a distinctive smell of pineapple and pepper slowly drifting toward their trenches. The French infantry assumed that the Germans were merely using...
All right, so we can cut that out. Let me ask you brothers a question. For those who might know, and the reason why I'm asking is for you elder brothers. It's an actual scientific fact that chlorine gas is heavier than air. So if the gas leaks, it's going to be on a low level, which is our level, which will be easier for the intake of it. How serious or how damaging is it to have this facility in an area where less than 100 feet you have a housing development? Around the corner, there's residential. How important is it for that building to be non-existent in that area, in particular in our city?
It's not a matter of the building being demolished, or it's the matter of them moving that chlorine gas to a place where it won't do any damage. Exactly. You see, it goes back to what Malik just said a little while ago, follow the money. Human life to certain people means nothing.
That's right.
Absolutely nothing. If we understood the principles of the institution, the American peculiar institution of enslavement, we'll see that they instituted a system which to them was called capitalism. You got one side of capitalism which is constant, and the other one is oh Lord, I'll think of the name in a minute. That age catch up. But anyway, what it says is that you can purchase labor and you can work that labor till it can work no more. And if he dies in the process, fuck it, bury him, go buy another one. That's the same mentality that industries work off today. I served in the military. The military is probably one of the greatest industrial complexes this country's ever seen. And the damage that they have done to their military intentionally after they use you for combat or whatever your skill is, they send us back to bases. I didn't go through it, but a lot of brothers came back to this country and had to serve time, their remaining time, on bases where they were using poisonous gases, just like the Nazis did. Gas was escaping into the water that they were taking showers with. So today, a lot of those brothers are suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease, all different kinds of cancers of the brain and the liver and everything, because their mentality simply is about, I got to have it all. And if there's anything or anybody that prevents me from reaching my goal, they got to go. And see, while we were struggling for civil rights and acceptance here, and these people sitting back in their smoke-filled rooms planning 50, 60 years ahead. Okay, if we give them civil rights, if we let them vote, how we gonna put it into this shit when we get tired of it? And that's the process. Those are the days we're going through now. But what they don't realize is everything comes to an end. Everything has a cycle. And the cycles that they have survived, or they have put on the earth, or the people, the indigenous people, anywhere they've gone on the earth, they've done the exact same thing. The lives there are expendable. And I go back to thinking, when I went from basic training to advanced infantry training, they had started putting in my brain already that the Vietnamese weren't even human. So when they sent us there, and a lot of us have this mentality until we actually see what's going on. And then we're confronted by the Vietnamese who say, hey man, what the hell you doing out here fighting us, man? Is that shit we just saw in the movie for real? They showed us tick, tick, tick. And they said, is that for real? That's what happened? Yeah. What you doing here? But go back to Calvin's point and Brother Malik's points. We're expendable. We're just a mule that can make money, and when that mule get old, either put him out the pasture or make some glue out of his skin.
So let me ask you this question: what do you think that, as knowing that this facility exists, what do you think we can do, from your perspective, to help eradicate this from being here? If there's anything that we can do.
Well, Harold kind of just answered that. I mean, again, if there was no fire, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's right.
Right.
Okay? So it comes down to moving from being reactionary to proactive. Okay? Now, to answer your question, it's not just about the chemicals. It's a bigger issue. You can easily have the chemicals moved or dealt with through the politicians, or through, again, following the money, finding out who's responsible for the chemicals being there. That's simple. That's easy. That can be done. But the real issue is self-determination. At one time, we had the shot at determining who the politicians, I'm talking about so-called African Americans in particular now. Okay. Self-determination. If you can't do it through political means, do it through economical means, or both.
Period.
Right. Right now, you're reacting. It's just like the fire that took place in the Bronx a week or two ago. Now they're talking about implementing in new buildings, especially the ones that are owned by the housing authority and owned by New York, certain fire preventive measures after 16 people died.
Right. That should have already been in place.
Right. But because they were immigrants, because they were Africans, and because they were poor, it didn't matter.
expendable,
whether or not these things are there. Right.
One of the comments, Brother Justice said that the problem is the blacks will get used to help fight the fight, but we will not benefit anything from the outcome.
That is what has happened in the past as a result of still depending on someone else to help us fight what we need to fight for ourselves. See, I still don't think we really understand that this is all to them economics.
right?
It's all economics. Racism is economics. Segregation is economics. Football is economics. Everything these people dropped on us is economic. It's feeding into their way of survival. I'm not going to say what I want to say, but I joined an organization. And as a result of joining this international organization, so much has been illuminated to me, because at first they didn't know that I was a melanated man from the North America. But the head man on top said it doesn't matter. As long as they follow our principles and our rules, they can prosper and benefit like we do. See, what they don't understand is their system is what has caused all the misery all around this world. Mm-hmm. And every group of indigenous people, I don't care where they are tired. I don't know if we would be in a position, especially after going through what we went through in the 60s, in the 50s, and in the 40s. But those tough times made strong men.
Yes.
Integration came along and weakened our butts because they put so much milk in the coffee. Right. Oh, you can do this now, you can do that, but you can't get too close, because as Malcolm said, if you want to separate from them, they'll kill you. If you want to get too close to them, they'll also kill you. But we have to understand, we have to understand the power that their money holds over their minds. And we still don't understand that. I went to Cuba last year, and Panama and Jamaica and other islands, and I'm getting ready to go back to Africa in June. And everywhere I've gone, it doesn't matter where, the conditions of our people are exactly the same. Exactly. And they're even worse in Africa, because the people don't know what they're walking on top of, because to them it don't hold no value. I can't eat that shit. Mm-hmm. But they can take it from Africa to their homes and become billionaires, because to us it's just another mineral, another element that we were taught to live in balance and harmony with. But when I went to Cuba, I saw 1955 South Carolina all over again. And the black folks over there don't even realize what's happening to them. But that's a little bit off the subject. But going back to what we as a people have to do, first of all, the people who live closest to that building.
Yes, sir.
I don't know the economic status like it used to be when I was growing up in the projects, but had we taken a stance then, like we're going to ask these people to take a stance now, because see, I didn't see any businesses in Passaic that really help our people to survive. I really don't. I didn't see any supermarket, except when you go out, into Clifton and close to Clifton in them areas. But how will the people who live in there know? Better yet, the people who live there will have to organize in such a manner that their money and how they spend it raises voices for them.
That's right.
All right. I just received the questions that I had presented to the mayor. I just got the Brother Harold and Brother Shaka. I'm going to read off the questions in which I asked. And I'm going to see you all feedback from it. The first question I asked is, what is the safety measures that are in place at the location which facilitates chlorine? The answer is, we follow all the guidelines, so nobody don't think that I'm saying this is me. Look, it's here. If you can see a little bit of it, these are the questions I asked, and these are the answers that was given. Once again, the question was, what are the safety measures that are in place at the location which facilitates chlorine? The answer, we follow all of the guidelines for manufacturers for proper storage quantities and what the materials react to, including what effects it may have if someone is exposed to the chemical. If someone is exposed to the chemical, also what steps needed to be taken for first aid exposure to people. We also look at what kind of early warning systems are in place. Example, sprinkler system, alarm system, etc. This is done through yearly life hazardous inspections, enforcing the NFPA guidelines as well as NJ Uniform Fire Code. That was the first question, and that was the first answer in which we got.
Yeah, that means he already knew the shit was there.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but the building was there before he became mayor. We understand that.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
He mentioned the guidelines that they're following.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he said they're following the guidelines. So in order to make that comment, he had to know that stuff was there. In order to make sure that the guidelines are being followed.
Mm-hmm. Right, I got you. Question 2. And me and Brother Cal spoke about this. Is there an evacuation plan for the city in case of a chemical leak? The answer, yes. This is part of our plan with OEM, Office of Emergency Management. Third question, Brother Harold. Why is chlorine gas being stored in such a densely populated arrangement? The answer, there is no gas being stored regarding the chlorine product for pool treatments. As long as it's within the allowed amount and all the safety requirements are being met during the manufacture of the final product, it is a safe process. Also referred to question 1. Fourth question. What information was given by DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, as far as the safety of this pertaining to the city? Answer. The DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, stated that all levels of air quality are safe and they are doing a full report of the plant, and that will be available soon. Them was the answers that I got from the mayor. Thanks for responding. And that's what I got. So now what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to do a little more in-depth. I'm going to go to the facility, which I went there today. And you barely could get in the building. When you walk in the building, there's a phone that you have to use to speak. They got a big steel door. They got to buzz you in. There's a way that you got to get in. But I know some individuals that's connected there. I just found out through text. And I'll be reaching out to them as soon as we get off the phone, and it needs to be some more looking into. Are you brothers willing to come back on?
Come back where?
On here with the more with more information.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my problem.
Okay, brother.
Here's my problem. I've had enough of fast talk, empty words, and promises. We're talking about the lives of human beings. One thing I did notice when I went to the projects in June, there's a lot of people from the Dominican Republic living in there. A lot of them. And with the kind of fire they have, I'm quite sure that there's a group or a few of them I met who don't mind standing up to, because see, this guy's talking fast and talking about procedures and policies and all that stuff. Listen, policies and procedures only work if you follow them, not talk about them. And it goes back again to what I asked you, did the guy know the stuff was there beforehand? And from his answers, yes. Mm-hmm. Now, if he knew it was there beforehand, he has to know who's storing it there. Mm-hmm. And as far as meeting the standards for swimming pools, how many swimming pools you know in Passaic? What they doing with it? And it doesn't have to be a gas if it burns. Have you ever tried? Do this when you have enough nerve. Get you a bottle of bleach from Home Depot. Don't get that garbage they sell in the supermarket. Get the swimming pool bleach, the disinfectant, and pour a little bit in a cup of water and set it on fire and see what happens. And it has to have other elements with it in order to burn. Oxygen is one of them. See, again, we're going back and forth about doing things their way. We've done things their way for the past 474 years, maybe longer. And we played by every rule they gave us. Everything they told us, we went to their colleges, their universities, we got their degrees, we finished, we still can't do what we need to do with our own families and children because we're too busy earning the money we need to spend in their stores to buy the poison they're killing us with. I almost slipped up and said something.
Okay, well, I have a question for you, Kyle. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead, continue.
No, go ahead. I know you was laughing.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm like kind of massaging my temples. Let me pretext the question with a statement. I love you, not just because you're family, but because of where your heart is at. You're sincere. Okay. But my question, given that pretext, to you, relative to all the questions you raised this evening, is what is your status?
My status based on this chlorine thing is that it has to go.
No. The question shot above your head. We're going to try this again.
Right.
What is your status? What's your political standing? What's your natural standing?
I don't necessarily have a political standing.
Okay. And that's part of the problem. In spite of your sincerity, which again I applaud, and in spite of your efforts, which I applaud, but you're functioning from a foundation where you can't identify what your status is, your political standing as a man and in nature. See, because ultimately, they're not accountable to us because of our status and our standing. Whether you are aware of it or not, and this isn't my opinion, this is a fact, you became property as soon as you came out your mother's womb.
Of course.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which means what? What does that mean?
That I'm a part of the system.
So that means that you're still property. Can I get someone to give me an amen on that?
Yeah, I was going to say, to a point, we got to make certain things clearer. What Malik is emphasizing is that there was a time when we had to reach a certain age to get identified or classified. But at birth, we're classified and identified as the property of the outstanding group who call itself the U.S. governing body. And standards he's talking about standing on are the standards of your natural human rights, your rights as a natural human being.
As a man, right.
Yeah. We've been fighting a war with defenses. We've been fighting bullets with wooden shields throughout the history of our existence under their system. What Malik is pointing to is that standing on a foundation with the knowledge of who we are as a people, as human beings. See, they already know. That's why the confusion is always in our communities to keep us from learning what we need to learn. Some of us, Calvin, Brother Shaka, we spent a lot of time with our youngsters on the streets, a lot of time. Some of them were in high school, junior high, even elementary school, but we spent a lot of time trying to pass on information that would help them when they became of age to become the soldiers they are today. Unfortunately, Passaic has been the kind of environment that shooed them away. There was nothing. What do you want to come back here for? There ain't no jobs. All the girls are in Patterson, or they done left the state. You know, what are you still here for? So we pack up and leave. And even some of us, under the threat of being killed, stayed in Passaic until the elders say, "Hey, man, get out of here, because these people are serious." Now, what we're asking, what type of courage are we standing on to face an enemy as diverse as he's made us think he is? See, the issue, the greater issue, greater than even the chlorine, is the atmosphere that exists that make them know they got the right to put that poison in our community.
Right there.
Right.
Right there.
But
right there.
You know, let me say this to that as well, is what I've come to find out in Passaic, when it comes to the black folk in Passaic, is that when you get a brother or sister who stands up to fight against a particular thing that they may feel as a threat for the masses, right? You get other black folk who, because it ain't them or because they didn't have enough courage to stand up and fight for something that they feel they should have, they start knocking, kicking that other brother or sister in the back to the point that they try to make them feel, oh, let me finish, brother. They try to make them appear to be, if they are a part of the enemy or they are part of the opposition, which I've seen brothers and sisters, even myself at a point, say, you know what? If I'm gonna stand up and do this and I'm gonna get knocked by the very people who pretend to act like as if they have a genuine concern or care, then I'm right, let me fall back and let me see them get up and do it. And then now you wait for them to do it, to come to find out they ain't doing a damn thing. And now you get criticized for falling back, but they forget about the others who say that they're gonna do something who end up not doing nothing.
Can you get can you have a dog that has been raised in the house as part of a family? Everything that dog needed to survive was provided for.
Given.
Right? And something happens where that dog has to become by nature what it is. And you take that dog from the house and make him a guard dog or put him in the front lines. Everything emulates and starts in the home. Everything. Again, We grew up in a time and in a place where we were raised by everybody. Today, walking through the projects, hey man, don't see that motherfucker got a gun, man. You scared of your own people?
Right.
And you live here? We've got to understand the nature of the game. See, we always pointing at each other. They doing that nigga won't get up doing that. The atmosphere that created the laziness in that, or put the fear in that person, when are we gonna deal with that? The sister said something, friend. You know, we don't understand the system.
Hold on, Malik.
Just as we don't.
Go ahead, Malik. Brother Howard was talking.
Okay. In regards to what you just said, can you name me one significant Black leader who didn't have to deal with that same dynamic?
Far as from in my area, yeah, Uncle Count.
Count had to deal with that dynamic.
I said in my area. I don't know about the fights he dealt with before that.
Okay. But just historically, can you name a Black leader that did not have to do those dynamics?
Absolutely not.
You got to do what you're gonna do in spite of that.
No, I do it anyway. But I'm just saying that. But I say that to talk about how often we as a Black folk, because I only can talk about us, because I'm a part of the Black folk.
Okay.
How often we talk about this unity thing. I get sick and tired of hearing it myself. You talk this unity. We need to do this. We need to do that. But the same people who talk it is the same ones who throwing the stones or holding meetings about attacking the ones who are standing up there doing it.
But again,
can't worry about them, brother. Can't worry about them. I judge you not by what you say, but by what you do. If you tell me who you are, I'm gonna believe you, either through words or either through your action. Don't worry about it.
The Queen Claudia Heston says the answers they gave you, Kaz, are their implementation plans, which is common for all plants of the like. They pretty much said that they're presently following the guidelines set by those agencies you mentioned and don't want anyone in Passaic or anyone else for that matter to dig deeper. Let me see. The brother Justice said, this isn't our fight. It's the cities versus the chlorine company and the greedy developers who want the property.
Jeff, that's what Jeff just said?
Not Jeff. That's what that came from, not Jeffrey. Jeffrey died not on here, brother. That came from Justice Figueroa.
Okay.
And
before you go on,
go ahead, bro.
Before you go on, what constitutes the city? What constitutes the state of New Jersey? What is the city of Passaic? It ain't the city council or the mayor, it's the people.
The people.
And for somebody to tell me it's not the fight of the beings who are going to be affected by it
directly.
Yeah, I got a problem with that statement. But Malik, again, Kasnian. There have been several experiences other than growing up in the projects that made us the men we became. A lot of us got drafted. A lot of us out in Passaic. So some of the brothers didn't make it back. Some did. A lot did. But the brothers who came back changed human beings and were able to visualize the problem.
Yes, sir.
We ran up against the same opposition.
Yes, sir.
The same. The difference is the younger people were listening. Not them, not them dudes standing on State Street, Passaic Street. Nah, it was them youngsters who was listening.
Right.
And that was the greatest fear of City Hall and the police. The children listening to the niggas. We got to get rid of.
They might start thinking on their own. They might start believing they could be somebody. They might start questioning the authority that we're trying to hit them over the head with.
Right. Right.
And yes, they did.
All in all, when we realize that we're at war, then and only then will we start taking the steps that are necessary to provide for and protect ourselves. We're at war.
Mm-hmm. Every day.
We ended up being the cannon fodder, only to come back to a Passaic that said, man, you know, the only job I got for you, you can be a custodian in the military school. Oh, hell no, man. Not that I'm too good to clean the building, but why did you tell me to go to college?
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get rid of the illusions that hypnotize our people. This disunity has been going on ever since the incarcerated, the kidnapped people were brought over here and kept away from the indigenous people who was already here. The divisions, male against female, young against old, black against, those are all inventions of a diabolic group of people who know that as soon as we wake up, they're going to lose their wealth. Now, again, part of the problem that I did see that still exists in Passaic is that local mindset, the projects mindset, or the 6th Street mindset, or the uptown mindset, or the toe town. That stuff is still existing. Even though we family, I got cousins over here, cousins up there, but sometimes we don't get along because they live over now. Hey, listen, that's an illusion.
Mm-hmm. That
was invented to keep you from doing what you need to do inside the family. And I have to keep bringing up the family because that's the foundation of every society. And guess what? Guess who the backbone of the family really is? Mama. Mama. And when them people realized how strong our women were and the sons they were raising, we're going to talk about the daughters later because all of them had to step up over us. But when they realized the sons were being raised into manhood, they had survival skills, they were thinkers and doers. They came in and said, listen, sweetheart, you living in the projects in order to get the state money? I don't want to see no iron, no TV, or no man. So we got to deal with that. We do, us men, we have to deal with that. We got to communicate with each other much better. No, hey man, the stuff I'm hearing, the people who are pushed up in front of our youngsters as role models and examples, there's something wrong. Because that's the crustaceans of the ocean. They're making famous. They're making heroes for our children. Everything starts in the home. From the home goes to the extended family, then the clan, and then the rest of the community. We got answers for their problems. But when the mind is clogged up with, oh man, I can't do that, that's too much against me, you already defeated yourself. And we're facing the same thing. I don't care if you're in South Orange, South Miami, Buffalo, New York, or LA. We're all facing the same shit. Excuse my language, I keep forgetting those. But we're dealing with the same problem. And here's the thing. We have to come up with the solutions. We believe everything they tell us. Everything. Without investigating for ourselves. Let's go back and start encouraging them children. One thing we stopped emphasizing with our youngsters, we stopped emphasizing reading. Now we depend on Comcast and Netflix and all that stuff. We got to reinstill the desire because these people hide all their they put all their secrets in books and then they hide the books. But now we're at an age where we have access. So we've got to encourage the children, the young folks, to read. I was asked a question one time, how do we beat these white folks? You don't know shit about them. How you gonna get in the ring with somebody you don't know nothing about? You gonna get your butt whooped. Man, I got a fight coming up with Sugar Ray. Well, if you don't know Sugar Ray and his style, bro, you gonna get killed.
That's right, the art of war.
That's it.
Yo, brother Barry Robinson, may he rise in power, said to me, I'll never forget this, brother. He said, man, you know why most black people in Passaic are against each other? I said, why is it, brother Barry? He said, because the people who are at each other in Passaic don't know the strategy or don't know who our enemy is. And he said that in order for you to be able to defeat the white man, first you have to know who he is. Learn about him. You'll start coming to the realization that you really didn't have to learn about him in the beginning. It's just that you didn't know who you were.
There you go.
That's what he told me, man. Yes, sir. With that being said, brothers, I appreciate you for coming on. It won't be the last time. That God willing, if I still got breath in my body. On our way out, I'm going to give all you brothers some finally words. Some words to say to our people that's listening right now and also that will be listening in replay. Start with you, Brother Shaka. What would you like to say to the masses, brother?
Well, what I would like to say to you first is thank you for doing this. I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate the brothers who came on, who shared, because I learned some things. And it reinforced some of the things that I'm in the process of doing. I would like to, I don't know if Harold is up here now or if you're still coming up, but Calvin.
Yes, sir.
I want to go to lunch, eventually go to lunch, man. Sooner than later.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Especially now that you're retired. So I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna get you from Kaz.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely, my brother.
And again, thank you, Kaz, for doing this, man.
You're welcome, brother. I thank you. I salute you. Brother Harold, anything you would like to say in your conclusion to the masses, brother?
Go back to the family. Start at home. Get up off your knees. Because Jesus himself said, prayer without works is dead.
Dead.
Y'all got all the faith in the world. And he also said, if you had as much faith, real faith, as the size of a mustard seed, you could move, say to the yonder mountain, man, move, and it'll move. But we don't understand, again, like you just mentioned a few minutes ago, Kappa, we don't know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. Man, anyway, it's good to pray, but prayer requires action.
Absolutely.
It requires more than talk.
That's right.
Keep that family as the foundation of your community. Don't be afraid to talk to each other's children. If you see them and they're incorrect, pull them to the side. Hey, man, correct yourself. This is in our hands. Let's work together, finally.
Brother Calvin, anything you would like to say to the masses, brother?
Just want to say, Brother Kaz, continue to being a servant in the community, brother. Don't worry about the fiery darts, my brother. Just put on the whole armor and you'll be all right. That comes with the territory, my brother. And just because someone challenges doesn't mean a damn thing. It just makes you stronger. That's all. That's all. Just let you know what you have to do. And to the family, to the community, I just say, if this same situation with that fire was to take place next week, and you would have gotten a robocall or you would have gotten a knock on the door, do you have a plan? Do we have a plan on if I really had to move my family, what would I do? Or would I spend 2 hours running around trying to say, well, let me get this or let me get that? Listen, prepare for the worst and expect the best. We can do that. And I just go back to what Brother Harold said. I thank Brother Harold, his family, and people like him for being in my life that instilled in me the desire to work in the community. As long as I have breath in my body, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But we have got to teach our young people. And that's why we spent so much time working on young people, because we have to develop their minds. Stop giving them. Let them earn and teach them the truth.
Now, brothers, well, I got all three of you. Now, I'm gonna give it another time. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
No. Can y'all see this?
Pick it up. Lift it up. There you go. Move it to your left a little more. Right there.
I send you a copy and one to Malik. Every black family need to understand. It's called the Negro Project.
Wow.
It's a story written by Bruce Flory, but it's the life story of Margaret Sanger. Every black person needs to know that name.
Wow. Planned Parenthood.
That's what they call it today, but she tells it like it is.
Wow. Niggas
is like weeds. They're dangerous. We got to uproot them. She used a term called, it means to pull up by the roots. But her whole thing was to get rid of all black people until she realized no matter where she went, we everywhere.
Yes, I need that. I need that. Let me ask you brothers this while I got all three of you on here. Because, you know, sometimes I'm an impulsive person. I like to react when I got the brothers on. How would you three? Shaka, you still there?
Yes.
You, Brother Harold, Brother Calvin. And then I'm going into, after this, we're going into dialogue with some of the queens. How would you brothers like to feel if I have you three brothers on and I have some younger brothers on, and we'll talk about the relationship between the young and our elder brothers?
Absolutely.
A no holds barred conversation, though. This would be the first no holds barred that we ever had on Real Talk with Qasim. We done had over 100 episodes, shows. This would be our first no holds barred, where us younger brothers can speak to you older brothers, our adult brothers, in our way. Respectfully, though. Everything is done in respect and in love. Meaning that there's questions that we can ask you that you will not answer, that you will answer, rather, and vice versa.
Absolutely. Life itself is no holds barred. I mean, we have to deal with it as it comes. That's no problem.
So are you brothers available for next Tuesday, 8 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Brother Cal, you? Oh, go ahead. Look at your schedule, brother.
Who you talking to, me?
Brother Cal, you already said, yeah. You said set it up. Malik said set it up. Brother Cal. All right, there you go. That's what we'll be doing. And then we're going to jump into after that, we're going to post next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We will have Real Talk with Qasim. We'll have a no holds barred conversation between the younger brothers and our elder brothers here at Real Talk. It's going to be very
excuse me for cutting you off one more time, brother.
Yeah,
you know what I really, in June, I after the funeral, after the services, I went down to 6th Street and I sat down with a group of youngsters. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know they was family. I didn't know they were the grandchildren of people I grew up with, but we had groups of conversations that was inspiring to me to hear and see, look into the faces of young folks who got the same fire and determination, but the path that was laid open to us ain't open to them. And many of them don't understand. One brother said something to me to this day, I still don't know what he said, because the language of the rap artists has infiltrated so much into our communities. And if you're not a fan of rap, you don't know what they talk. I didn't know what they were talking about. But the young sisters, I gotta applaud. There's some young sisters in Passaic, and I was really impressed. really. I see some hope, Kasim.
Mm-hmm.
I see some hope, brother.
Right.
But that hope has to be tripled with hard work and desire.
There you go. Brothers, I applaud you for coming on, man. And thank you. I'm looking forward to next Tuesday. I'm looking forward to next Tuesday to have some younger brothers. That's next Tuesday. That'll be the 1st. That's February 1st. February 1st at 8 p.m. here at Real Talk with Kasim. And we're gonna have a conversation because I got some younger brothers that have been more or less in need of a conversation with older brothers whom it is that they don't know, but you all know their family members. Now you'll know their grandmothers and grandfathers. I can guarantee that. And it's gonna be very interesting. And then after that, I'm jumping in with the sisters. We're gonna have a conversation with the sisters. Then we're gonna have a conversation with the sisters and the elders. You brothers be coming back for a couple of weeks. Provided, God still, the creator still blesses us to be here. But I thank you all for coming on, man. You brothers have inspired me, man. You have given me energy to go on and dig depth and let those know that this is not the last of hearing about this facility in Passaic with the chlorine. I'm going to dig deeper into it, do some research and studying, and we'll come back at a later date to discuss that. Because there's some questions that need to be ascertained. And I'm going to reach out to see if when we talk about that again, we'll have somebody to represent the Department of Environmental Protection, as well as someone who has something to do with the facility themselves, and also the administration here in the city. Have everybody come on at a discussion at a later date based upon that. The next week we'll be here on Real Talk with Kasim, which will be February the 1st, to have a conversation with our younger brothers and these adult brothers that are right here on the show, our elders. So the brother Jaheem, Jerry Patterson, all the way from Florida, where you at, Brother Howard, says peace. And don't forget Andre, he wanted a brother to come on with us. So we got brothers all over. And there's a question that brother said from Florida. Brother Howard, while you here, let me get you before you leave. Where's this question at? Brother said from Florida. Right here. He says, chemical warfare has been used against a people of color prior to us arriving on the shores of North America, KKK. It started with the Indians. Now it's all about money. He said, killing the population of all people in every city and county. He said, chemicals are in the waters here in Florida as well. Politics politics is a dirty business.
He's talking about the chemical warfare he's talking about was carried out against the people who called the white man called the Iroquois, but we know them as the Hausinose people. Commander Elmhurst ordered his men to take blankets infested with smallpox to eliminate that population because the white man saw a need to take the land. Yes, he's right. They've been using biological and chemical warfare. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this. At the end of World War II, the United States brought in at least 2,000 Nazi chemists, virologists, bacteriologists, doctors, engineers, and biological and chemical war experts. And they put them to work in the medical profession, but primarily on military bases. We got to know that. And when it comes to our health, when we depend on someone else to supply us even with water, we're at their mercy. But brother, I applaud you, man. I'm glad you. What's his name?
That was brother Jaheem, Jerry Patterson.
Brother Jerry, man. Thank you for that comment. Thank you very much, because we need to know that. In addition,
no, I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead, brother. In addition to
that, we have been the subjects. Here's one more book we got to get. It's called The Delectable Negro. This has been a 400-500-year compilation of cannibalism and the use of Black people as a source of food after chemical exposure. There's so much out there, but we got to search for it and find it. But again, when you learn it, go home and share it with your children. Talk about it like my father used to do at the dinner table.
Now,
and we better.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, I thought you go ahead. Go ahead,
So we better be able to answer his questions. Because that's the only way he knew that we learned what we went to school for.
That's right.
And if we couldn't answer the questions, John Henry went to the school. When I was in number 8 school, man, my father was there almost every week, man. Either him or Uncle Charlie. Man, but again, they challenged us. A lot of guys used to come to Passaic from Patterson and Newell, you know, tough guys, right? But they got the shock of their lives when they came to the project, both on 6th Street and up, because they didn't know we had people like Charlie, Uncle Walt, and Joe Mann, Reuben Carter, Kevin Johnson's father, who was a prize fighter. These people prepared us. They taught us how to defend ourselves. And they said, boy, if anybody put their hand on your sister, don't you bring your behind around here. So we had a sense of love based on how we were able to protect one another.
There was a question that was imposed, and particularly to me, it says, in other words, this is when Malik was speaking to me. He said, in other words, will you fight the city if it comes to that? I think I was born to fight the city. All my uncles that I know of and the brothers that I know have been fighting the city since day one. And I think in a social way, I'm doing it now, and even with tonight's show. Brother, I don't like when somebody write in the comments and we don't produce it. We got brother Rodney Man Walker on for the first time with us. Let me show his comment, because we supposed to have been out here. Now let me show his comment. He says, no way in hell these foreigners come here and 6 months later they own 3 or 4 houses in Passaic. So now they raise the rent where you can't pay and you'll have to leave.
How many years that's been going on?
Right.
In response to the brother, we still don't understand the system we're in.
Economics.
We really don't. Every living institution that America practices is designed to keep us below human standards. So a foreigner can come here, one who can't even speak English, but because he has a relative or a friend in the city council or the school board, he has an easier way into the system that they designed for themselves. See, we become consumers. We don't, what are we producing other than babies? And we still don't have control over what those babies are taught and how they're raised. Not yet, but we will.
Brother, question was, what was the name of that book again on cannibalism? And you said The Delectable Negro, right?
Yes.
And who was that book by?
It's A Delectable Negro, Human Consumption, and Homoeroticism within the U.S. slave culture. His name is Vincent Woodard.
Show that book again, brother. Hold up higher.
Can you see it?
Hold up higher. There you go. Right there. Sister Antoinette Watts asked that question. It's The Delectable.
She can get it on Amazon much cheaper than she can if she goes to a bookstore.
Okay. He said that you can get it through Amazon and it'd be much cheaper. Oh, she says thank you. She says thank you, brother. With that being said, I keep saying with that being said, and we keep going, right? You know I'm enjoying this. But let me ask all three of you brothers this, and then as you say it, as you answer the question, you could go ahead and on the way that you came in, you could respectively go out after you answer the question. Is that okay for the brothers?
Yes, sir.
Brother Shaka.
Yes.
Still there. Okay, brother. You can say this, answer this question, then I'm going to get you off the phone, and then I'm going to present the question to the other brother, and they're going to come off the screen and come off, and I'll be the last one on the screen closing out tonight's episode of Real Talk with Kasem. First, the question I'm asking you, which I'm going to ask all you brothers. What do you feel is your purpose as a black man in this country?
My purpose is much bigger than a black man in this country. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I came back here to this realm to become self-realized, to realize my godhood. That covers everything.
We appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you next Tuesday, brother, 8 p.m. And I'll be in contact with you before then.
Okay.
Peace and blessings, beloved.
Peace. Peace.
Oh, I cut him off earlier. I know he was gonna say peace to everyone, so I cut him off earlier. I hate him while he was still talking. Matter of fact, out of respect, let me let him finish.
Give me 1 second.
What he was saying. I like to be respectable to everyone. So pardon me.
Yeah.
I cut you off, brother, when you were saying peace to, and I cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
No, that was it.
No, you said peace to me, and then you were saying peace to, I don't know if it was
peace to the brothers.
Okay, got you. All right, brother.
Okay.
You got it,
All
beloved.
right.
All right, peace. Brother Calvin.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear brother
Can't hear you.
all right, you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I bet he can hear y'all. Why is that? Oh, we having problems.
Can you hear?
Oh, we had these problems. Brother Calvin, can you speak? Can I hear you?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right. That's crazy. I can't really hear y'all. But hold up. Let me get into this real quick. We go into these microphones. Yeah, everything is set. All right, because we're gonna have a problem. So we're gonna end this with problem. What do you feel is your your duty as a black man in this country, brother?
My duty is to take care of your family first, and to raise and to be aware and to always ensure that you give something to somebody else. I'm a product, as I said, of Brother Harold, other members of his family, other members of this community who poured into us, who we didn't have a choice whether we were going to listen to them or not. The only choice we had was whether we were going to utilize the knowledge that they were putting in our heads. And I'm so glad that brothers like him and others have put into me so that now I'm able to give back. That's why we've done the things that we've done over the years. To whom much is given, much is required. We owe, brother. And if we don't do it, we're going to be a lost generation.
Brother, we appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for tuning in. Brother
Thank
Calvin,
you.
looking forward to you, my brother, to see you and building with you next Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate you. Peace, brother.
Peace.
Brother Harold.
Yes, sir.
My brother. What is your purpose or responsibility as being I added a word that changes everything. You told me that. What is your responsibility as a black man in this country?
First of all, my grandmother, Miss Mattie Lou McKinney, used to tell me, son, I don't care what you do in life. If you choose to be a garbage man, you be the best garbage man on the route. So instill with that kind of love and understanding from the women and the men who raised me, my responsibility is to serve, not by talk, but by example. First for my family, then my extended family, my clan. Someone used to say, that's selfish. No, the foundation of every society begins with the family. So to serve my family, serve my extended family, my clan and community, I'm serving my people. because we occupy one space. But here's something that I learned over the years. There was a group of 12 of us who were being inspired by your father, your uncle, Ralph Robinson, Mr. Ruff, and Mr. Oscar Walker. And what they taught us was, no matter where you are in this world, remember your roots and carry with you what you learned from those who raised you. So as men, we're melanated, Black, African, I've never been American. That's just a BS title Jesse Jackson got paid for. But to serve our people, to reach a higher understanding of who we are, where we came from, why we're here, and what our duties are to ourselves to improve our own conditions. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate you, brother, very much, man. Looking forward, as you know, looking forward to building with you next Tuesday. And I will be reaching out to you tomorrow, and I'm going to go discuss some of that book with you tomorrow. So I'll be calling you, man.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Peace and blessings, brother. No, thank you. Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings to you all. Thank you all for tuning in to Real Talk with Qasim. Thank you all for taking the initiative, the time out of your busy schedule, your evening, to come on and join with us. I humbly and respectfully ask that you all to please tune in next Tuesday, which is February the 1st, for you all to tune in February the 1st and join us on Real Talk with Qasim as we reach out. And we're going to have some younger brothers. I'm going to have some younger brothers who's going to come on with us as we hold a conversation with the elder brothers who was on the show today. And I'm going to reach out to another one of our elder brothers to come on, and we're going to build with the younger brothers. And then after that, of course, sisters, queens, don't think by no chance that we leaving you out, because you know, if we reach out to the kings, the young kings, you know we're going to reach out to the queens. You know we're going to be doing that. Brother David Dern, my brother in the struggle, my comrade, says, thanks for your service, brother. You have been an outstanding influence in our community. Sister Deborah Atkinson, peace and blessings, Queen. Atkinson Norman, peace and blessings, sister. Peace and blessings. So please tune in. I'm humbly and respectfully asking you all to please tune in. Please tune in next Tuesday, 8 p.m. next Tuesday. We're here at Real Talk with Qasim as we have some younger brothers who are going to hold a no-holds-barred conversation with our elder brothers. And trust and believe me, it's going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting. And I even have my son who just turned 10 years old. I want to give it up to my son who just turned 10, my daughter Kashima, who had just had a born day. For all those who just had a born day, as we salute you at Real Talk. But I want you all to please tune in. My brother Akbar, he's in the rooms. He normally don't be watching the show like that, but he's in tonight. And brother, I love you, man, and thank you very much. So everyone, please take the time. Please take the time to pray. Please take the time to pray. And remember, we're still in the pandemic. It still exists. Please practice social distancing. Please practice social distancing. And also, please wear your mask and refrain from anything negative. Please refrain from anything negative, because it's positivity that always pulls us through. Sister Antoinette Watts, peace and blessings, Queen. Peace and blessings. I hope that you'll be able to join us next Tuesday. Brother Rodney, man, I hope you are able to tune in with us. And we got my bro Will Smith. Peace, beloved. My hands look pink, right? Peace, beloved. Peace, beloved. Peace, beloved. That's my bro Smith. We got Brother Smith in the building. Brother Smith, appreciate you, brother. And you know, brother, love you, brother. We got Angel Cologne, the king, 5th Ward in the building. You know we 4, 5, 6 it here at Real Talk. You know how we get down. But my bro Smith, man, we got my brother Smitty on, man. That means a lot to have my brother on with us on the show, man. Thank you, Brother Smith, for tuning in. Thank you, brother. I salute you with the 2-finger peace, a salute. Peace and blessings, Brother Smith. So please tune in next Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Real Talk with Qasim. We will be having a no-holds-barred conversation with our elder brothers. So please tune in. And remember, like I said, it's a pandemic. we don't get that misconstrued. We ask everyone to please be safe. This COVID, I don't care whether they want to call it Omicron, Depricon, I don't care whether they want to call it, what they want to call it. It's COVID. It's a sickening disease, and it will wipe you and take you up out of here. Sharif Nilly, peace and blessings, King. Peace and blessings. Thanks for tuning in, beloved. You respected and you love, homie. So please tune in next Tuesday with us as well. And we always play a song at the end of the show. We always let it be known that it came from our brother, Tariq Hanna, who happens to be the owner out there at A Squad Rebel Radio in Newark, New Jersey, doing major things, doing big things. Salute the brother, DJ Wayne, Lester Wayne. Peace and blessings, beloved. And also, peace and blessings to the Queen Tay West. And my brother Smith back. Peace, brother. Love you, Smith. You know how we do, bro. You already know. You already know how we do, brother. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you, brother. So we have a song that the brother gave us, and we play it at the end. It's a catchy little song that we utilize to help have the people going to wash your hands. It's very important, but we say when you wash your hands, also wash your consciousness, wash your mind, and stay humble, stay prayed up, stay peaceful. And it goes like this.
1, 2,
3. Wash your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands.
Can you share it on your end?
It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. And you're done. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. Now you're done. Scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. All done. Scrub it up, scrub it up. All my people say scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. To the left, scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. To the right, scrub it up, dub, dub, dub. Okay, scrub it up one more time. Wash your hands. It just takes 20 seconds. Wash your hands. It's for your own protection. No exceptions, no objections. You'll make such a nice impression. No infection if you only wash your hands. And you're done.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Please do not forget, Real Talk with Qasim comes on every Tuesday, 8 p.m. It's supposed to be till 9 p.m., but contingent upon the atmosphere, on the energy, on the conversation, we may go overtime. But please tune in with us at Real Talk with Qasim, 8 p.m. next Tuesday, which is February the 1st. Please tune in as we have our elder brothers hold a conversation with some of our younger brothers. And if you're listening right now or in the replay, you might be one of them brothers that I'll be reaching out to. Peace and blessing, peace, light, and love to you all. And remember, your best friend is yourself. And you only succeed through your ability to strive for excellence. Peace, light, love.